Hi, welcome to the Ivory Egg Technical Bulletin. Today we're going to look at some updates from Gira following the Light and Build show in Frankfurt in April. Let's get going. The first new item is a mobile app for the door communication system. With the app, you're able to see who's at the door, communicate with them, and also open the door from wherever you are. It could be within the home or it could be remotely. It requires a DCS IP gateway to work, and it has notifications, so the app doesn't need to be open to get a signal that someone's at the door. A notification will pop up and then you can use that to launch the app. The video is streamed at 2 frames per second. They're focusing a lot more on the audio initially in terms of getting the quality of that high enough. The frame rate's going to be increased over time. It doesn't use licenses on the DCS IP gateway. There's 3 different models. There's a 5 license, a 10 license and a 15 license version, which are used with, for example, the Control 9 or Control 19 KNX touchscreens. The app doesn't use one of the licenses, which is great. And because the DCS IP gateway can be updated with a new firmware, you'll be able to use the mobile app on existing systems. The system works via the Gira cloud, so all the communication is encoded via the cloud, but none of the images or audio is stored in the Gira cloud. It's going to be available from August 2018. We think this is a fantastic update to the already very stylish Gira door communication system. The next new item is the IP interface for the door communication system. This is completely different from the IP gateway that we've just covered for the app. This is a new interface which allows you to program via GPA, which is the Gira Project Assistant software. This is a big change from the current method of commissioning, which is the sneaker method. You need to enable programming on the controller and then go outside, push the door button, go inside, push a button on the home station, and keep going back and forth until all components are commissioned. With this new device, you'll be able to program it all from a laptop, either on-site or off-site. You'll be able to do it offline. And you'll also be able to upload from existing systems. We think this is going to dramatically reduce the amount of time spent commissioning door communication systems and make problem solving and debugging a system a lot easier. It can be removed from the system. You don't need the IP interface in the project for the system to work. But if you do leave it in, then it's able to act as a gateway from the X1. Now, the X1 is a KNX visualization server. It allows you to create an app for controlling a KNX installation and has a lot of logic and timer functions as well. By linking the two together, and that would be done in the same GPA project, you'd be programming both systems in the same software. You're able to link logic between the two. So it could be turning on external lights when the gate button is pushed, or turning on drive lights when you've opened the gate. It could be using a KNX keypad to release the gate. All of that will become very simple because the logic can be done on the same page. This is one of the big developments that we'll see throughout this video, is the way that GPA is becoming a universal tool for commissioning a Gira home. The IP interface is going to be available from July, and we think it's a really neat addition to the door communication system. There are a few other updates to the door communication system. The 106 range has a new finish, V4A stainless steel. This is a higher grade stainless steel, making it particularly suitable for harsh environments such as coastal or marine environments. And because of the V4A, the system can now be integrated into the REN's postbox solutions, as they use V4A as a standard, meaning you can have an integrated postbox or access unit with the 106 modules inserted. The fingerprint reader has also been added back into the keyless in range. It's had an update to the sensor for reading the finger. It uses the existing platform, so it's still 99 users and there's no management software needed. You manage the users via admin fingers. They're planning to update it further. Currently it's only available in System 55 or TX44 range of frames. It doesn't fit within the 106 range. Right, moving on from door comms. The next update is to the X1, the visualization server for KNX installations. Across the Light + Building show, there was a lot of companies showing Alexa integration, and Gira are no different. The X1 can be used to link the Amazon Alexa solution to a KNX installation. You would require an S1 as well as the X1. The S1 is used to create a secure tunnel between a home and the Gira portal. The functions on the X1 app will all be available via Alexa. So if you just add the skill into Alexa, discover devices, you'll be able to see any of the functions you've already created on the X1. So there's no additional programming needed. It will be very quick and simple to implement. Another update is the inclusion of a 7-day presence simulation. This is a feature which allows you to record what's happening in the home over 7 days and then play that back. So when you go on vacation, you're able to mimic someone being in the home. You'll have control over which objects are being recorded, so you won't turn on internal lights. Maybe you do want to use the shading to show, the shades open during the day and closed at night, or maybe you don't want to use them, you just want them all closed all the time. You have the option to choose what you want to record. We're also introducing retentive objects, so specific objects can be marked as retentive and saved. So if you want to recall a value after maybe a power failure, you'll be able to do that. All those updates are going to be available from June, and in August we're going to see direct Sonos integration. At the moment it's possible to integrate Sonos using the ISE Sonos gateway, but we'll be able to do that directly on the X1. You'll be able to use that to trigger playlists and have transport control, make it really simple to include music as part of a scene, maybe a welcome home scene, playing music as you enter a home, or a good morning scene, opening the blinds or the shutters, fading the lights up and increasing the volume, or starting a playlist and increasing the volume. Some really nice steps forward with the X1. It's pretty clear they're trying to increase the functionality of it, so we're looking forward to those releases coming out. There are also some announcements at the show about the G1. The temperature probe is now available. This little slot-in device goes into the bottom of the unit, reads the room temperature, meaning that the G1 can act as a standalone room temperature controller. It doesn't need to receive the temperature from another device on the KNX bus. They're also looking to evolve the G1 into being more of a multifunction controller, being able to control multiple functions within the home. Already you can do things like weather on it or link it into the door communication system. And currently you can install the home server app on the device and it can run the visualization for a home server using the quad client design. In April, they're going to release the same functionality for the eNet server. So running the eNet app, you'll be able to use the G1 as the controller for eNet. And in July, it will become an X1 client. The beauty of that is the current design of the X1 and the G1 is very, very closely aligned. But if you're installing multiple G1s in a property, you'd need to program each one in ETS, have all the room layouts, the folders and the functions, all the objects linked in ETS. It could be quite a lot of work. By running one central X1 and then just using each G1 as a client displaying the app, it's going to dramatically reduce the amount of programming. You'll be programming GPA, which is a lot easier for that visualization based programming. It'll be a lot easier to support going forward as well, because if you wanted to change functionality, you only need to do that once instead of doing that on multiple devices. It's also going to become a client for the alarm system. Gira have announced a new alarm system, which we'll cover in a minute. But the G1 would act as your main keypad for that. With the G1 and the X1 becoming a lot more functional, there's a bit of a question over where the home server sits in terms of the product lineup from Gira. The announcements made at the show, however, make it pretty clear that not only is the home server here to stay, they're also looking to massively increase both the performance and the functionality of the device. There's a big update planned in July, which will introduce a lot of new features, some of which we've been waiting for a long time. The quad client update tool means that if you've got lots of quad clients, maybe running on Control 9s, Control 19s, or running on the end user's laptops, the update tool will automatically bring them up to the latest firmware. So when you update the firmware of the home server, you normally need to go around and update all the programs that are accessing the home server. The update tool will do that automatically. We're going to have control of the user. We can already log in with different users or create different users to be logged in, but that control will now be possible at a quad client level and also a programming level. So you could automatically change the user. Maybe it is used in a home with a lot of guests coming to stay. You can automatically change the system between an admin user and a residential user. You can provide temporary access for a user, so it will be very simple to change user from within the quad client environment, but you can force that back into the default user. You'll be able to assign devices within the system. So instead of having one user interface all the time, you'll be able to customize the user interface based on where that interface is going to be displayed. Again, if you've got a Control 19 maybe in the living room and you've got one in the hallway upstairs, you may want to display different information on each device. That's going to be possible with the in-device location function. There's new buttons being added to the quad client display, what we see in the app, for the customer to be able to create their own shortcuts. And we also have a new global symbol list, which brings together all the different symbols within the programming environment, makes them accessible throughout. It'll be a lot easier to manage. There's going to be full integration of the Python logic language, including libraries. At the moment, it is possible to use Python, but it's limited. It's going to be the full application of Python. We're also going to see logic simulation, and that's one we've been waiting for a very long time. It's going to be possible to test logic without downloading to the home server and waiting for it to restart. Another big change to the logic is the introduction of IP commands on the logic page. So you'll be able to directly communicate with external IP devices, which opens it up as more of an IoT controller. And the really, really big announcement is URL endpoints. This enables you to create an external website using standard protocols for calling data and information from the home server. So you'll do all your visualization externally, as we can see in the picture on screen, the lower picture on the screen. Set up whatever you want for your visualization using modern HTTP5, for example, and then just using the home server as a device that has all the data, has all the information about the home, just sending information back and forward from the home server as needed. This opens up the home server to the possibilities are endless in terms of how you want to create the visualization, what you want to do with it. It really does push it up far beyond what would ever be possible with a device like the X1. As I said, these are all going to be available from July. It's a pretty big update, so I imagine the product managers at Gira are going to be pretty busy with this one. A couple of other announcements from Gira at the Light+Building show. The eNet system now integrates with Tado, which is a smart thermostat solution, either with smart radiator valves or with a wall-mounted thermostat controller. The Tado system is based around geofencing. As you leave the property, it automatically detects based on your phone and will set the heating back. You can now get that functionality within eNet, so turn off the lighting as well as the heating. You can also control the Tado solution from your eNet app, so one app to control both solutions. It's a pretty neat integration. It's very simple, works very well. That's going to be available from October. The British standard range has finally been completed with a few missing products, an unswitched fused spur, and also a 45 amp cooker switch, which now fits within the standard 55 range. The new alarm system is a pretty big announcement as well. That's going to be available from October in Germany, and they'll be looking at different regions next year. It's a grade 3 alarm system and has some really unique small sensors. It's very low profile. The alarm control panel is very discreet as well. It's a great solution. One of the key aspects is it's programmed via GPA. So you can use that one programming tool for more and more of the installation. Along with all the big technical changes, Gira have also made some design updates. The first is a new range called Studio. This has white and black glass circular frames that take the standard 55 inserts. They look very modern. It's quite a unique design. There's a multi-gang option, which is the more oblong version you can see on screen. They also have a surface mount option, which provides a back box for the frame. It takes standard conduit sizes and both circular and rectangular conduit. And we think the surface mount option has some really unique applications, particularly in a more modern building, that kind of industrial design, or maybe a historic building where you can't run cables through the wall. It has a very interesting style. The other is introducing black matte, both as an E2 frame, but also black matte as keypads. Now this is a really quite interesting color. Black isn't something very often used as a keypad option, but the black matte has a certain texture to it. It's very nice to touch, and it does really play well on the wall. It looks very nice. Both of them are a really big step forwards and introduce some very interesting options, particularly the black matte inserts. As they are standard 55, they can be used with all of the other Gira frames. So there's some interesting new combinations possible. That covers all the key updates from Gira. There is a lot more technical information along with some of the other announcements available in the Gira show guide which is available in a link below. And there's also a couple of different news articles that we've put on the Ivory Egg website. Again, links are below to access them. Thank you very much for watching this technical bulletin.